Welcome to 125 years of SRU and astronomy history. Just 43 years prior to the founding of the university, the planet Neptune was discovered by Le Verrier. Le Verrier, by letter, urged Berlin Observatory astronomer Johann Gottfried Galle to search with the observatory's refractor. After some comparisons and observations, Neptune was discovered to be within 1 degree of where Le Verrier had predicted. Neptune is the most dense of the gaseous planets. In 1889, our college was founded, and its principal was Dr. James E. Morrow. The enrollment of the first session was 168 students. The same year our university was founded, Edwin Hubble, perhaps the most important astronomer in the past century, was born. He is known for having one of the most important telescopes named after him. In 1898, Slippery Rock Normal School's football team played its first game, beating Newcastle High School. The following year was a total solar eclipse. In the early 1900s, floodwaters ravaged Johnstown, PA. Slippery Rock was no stranger to floods either. At approximately the same time, there was a flood of Old Main, which destroyed many written documents from the earliest years of the school. Commencing to 1915, Albert Einstein developed the theory of relativity, which helps predict the curvature of space-time around an object based on that object's mass. Around the same time, the student population dropped due to an increased American involvement in World War I. The draft would gather approximately 3 million soldiers compared to the mere 120,000 enlisted before the war. In 1937, disaster struck as an ox roast was being prepared for homecoming. This footage, captured on 16mm film by an alert bystander, shows the disaster. As the fires raged, students searched for belongings, some of which were found. However, the living quarters were razed to the ground. Fortunately, there were no casualties. Since then, North Hall has been rebuilt and is now a hotspot, no pun intended, for student life. On the morning of December 7th, 1941, the Japanese launched an attack on Pearl Harbor. All 8 U.S. battleships were damaged, with 4 being sunk. All but 1 were later raised, and 6 of the 8 battleships returned to service and fought in the war. The Japanese also sank or damaged 3 cruisers, 3 destroyers, an anti-aircraft training ship, and 1 mine layer. 188 U.S. aircrafts were destroyed. 2,403 Americans were killed, and 1,178 others were wounded. With the United States retaliating and entering World War II, enrollment once again dropped. Activities continued as normal at Slippery Rock as the students danced to hits by Duke Ellington and the Rat Pack. 5 years after the North Hall fire, Stephen Hawking was born. Hawking was always fascinated by how things worked when he was a kid. He eventually went on to college to study physics, but became increasingly clumsy as his college years progressed. His family began medical examinations, and he was found to have motor neuron disease and was given 2 years to live. He was depressed at first, but became more enthusiastic about his work and received his PhD in 1966. Hawking is alive today and is one of the most well-known physicists for his work on black holes. In the same decade that Hawking received his PhD, Vincent Science Center was built on the university grounds where our astronomy classes held. In 1969, Neil Armstrong said the words,
"It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind,"
as he and fellow astronaut Buzz Aldrin explored the lunar surface. Third astronaut Michael Collins piloted the command spacecraft in lunar orbit until they were ready to return almost a day later. In the 1970s, Slippery Rock's football stadium was built. Registration at the time was very different. Incoming and returning students would file into a room filled with many oversized computers and take turn registering. In the late 1960s into the 70s, detection of gamma ray bursts occurred. These energetic beams are the final death throes of dying stars. Once iron is formed in the star, it turns into a black hole, which begins to swallow the star from the inside. However, it is unable to consume all the mass so quickly, and thus ejects the excess energy as gamma ray bursts. In the 1980s, Earth was once again visited by Halley's Comet. In the 80s and early 90s, tuition and on-campus housing cost approximately $8,000 to $9,000. The Hubble Space Telescope was launched in 1990, named after Edwin Hubble, who was born the year the Slippery Rock University was founded. This telescope is one of the most important tools in the arsenal of astronomers. It cost $1.5 billion to build and orbits the Earth at approximately 353 miles above the surface. The successor to the Hubble Space Telescope is the James Webb Space Telescope, which is set to launch in 2018. Recently, the Kepler telescope has discovered a new Earth-like planet 490 light-years from Earth. It is in what is known as the habitable zone around its host star. It also is only 10% larger than Earth. It is thus the most likely Earth-like planet to be able to host life. However, it is unknown at this time whether it is a rocky planet like Earth or a gaseous planet such as Neptune. Additionally, the planet is in our galaxy. Coinciding with the discovery of Kepler 186f was the inauguration of our new university president, Dr. Cheryl Norton. Shortly before this, the construction of the Smith Student Center, our new university union, was completed. A lot has changed in our 125 years as a university, not only at the university itself, but in the study of astronomy. We now leave you with the top 10 pictures by the Hubble Space Telescope.